Hello everyone and welcome to the Jeffrey Epstein Show. I'm your host, Bobbycapucci, and this is a morning update. Good ol' I kept my underpants on Alan Dershowitz is supposed to be the keynote speaker for the Alaskan Bar Association. Well, as you could imagine, there are some in Alaska who want no part of douchey Dershowitz being involved in anything that they have to do with. Can you blame them? Who the hell would want to be involved with Dershowitz? Whose idea was it to have Alan, I kept my underpants on Dershowitz, go to Alaska and be the keynote speaker? Especially considering what goes on in Alaska as far as the abuse of women and children. It's one of the top states in the country when it comes to that stuff. So how is this a good idea? Dershowitz should be shunned. Dershowitz should not get one single minute on any one of these programs. Alan Dershowitz must answer the charges put against him by Virginia Roberts, the very credible charges that have been laid at his feet. Even with these charges, people like the Alaskan Bar Association, all of these news networks that continue to have him on, continue to propagate his bullshit, when in reality, he should not have a forum to ever speak at once until he answers these allegations. This isn't a man that should inspire confidence in anybody or inspire happiness or joy when they hear he's going to be the keynote speaker. I'll tell you what, if I was part of this group that was having him as the keynote speaker, I wouldn't even come. I wouldn't even go to the speech. I wouldn't be anywhere near this guy. And it's nice to see that there are people who are speaking out against it who are a part of this bar. So, our article today is from the Anchorage Daily News. The headline is, Alaskan Bar Association draws heat over selection of former Epstein lawyer as keynote speaker. This article was originally run in the Associated Press. The selection of famed trial attorney Alan Dershowitz to deliver the keynote at this year's Alaska's Bar Association annual convention is being criticized by members upset over Dershowitz's past defense of men like Jeffrey Epstein and O.J. Simpson. Now, I don't really, again, I've said this many times here on the podcast, I don't fault lawyers for the people they defend, right? That's not what's at issue here for me with Alan Dershowitz. I think that in a country that is free, that has a functioning justice system that works correctly, then everybody should be entitled to the best defense or representation that they can provide for themselves. So that's not the issue I have with Dershowitz. My issue isn't even that he was friends with Jeffrey Epstein. While that's abhorrent and that would make him an enabler and somebody to be eviscerated, the problem with Dershowitz is much deeper. He's on the same rung as Glenn Dubin, or Prince Andrew, or Bill Richardson, or George Mitchell. Should I go on? These are all the people that are credibly accused by Virginia Roberts of not just associating with Jeffrey Epstein, but of partaking in the abuse themselves. Dirty Dersh seems an untenable choice in a state that traditionally ranks near the top of states for violence against women, they argue. And that's for sure. Alaska is one of those type places. It's dreary, bad weather, people drink a lot, shit goes south, and unfortunately, it's one of those places where women and children are abused at a higher clip than elsewhere. So that's the face of Alan Dershowitz is really what you want to put on that, huh? That sounds like a really good idea, said nobody ever. In this great nation of ours, you can't find one other reputable lawyer to come and be the keynote speaker at your bar? That's just absolutely pathetic. But Dershowitz, a retired Harvard University law professor, counters that those who make those claims know nothing of his record. Well, yeah, because if they're only making those claims, Mr. I kept my underpants on, Dirty Dersh, then they truly don't know the scope of your alleged involvement. They don't know the scope to which you have been accused. So yeah, some people think it's just because of the people you have defended, I guess. But anyone who is really following this case, anybody who has went directly to the source and just completely ignored the legacy media understands the vile charges that have been laid at this man's feet. They understand that Virginia Roberts has credibly accused this man for years. Why has he not been subpoenaed? Why has he not been brought in to speak to the FBI? The Alaska Bar Association's governing board will meet tentatively next week to reconsider the invitation to Dirty Dersh to address membership at the October meeting. In a state like Alaska that has grave problems with violence towards women, violence towards children, including sexual violence, it's just 100% the wrong message to send. Scott Kendall, an Anchorage attorney who previously served as chief of staff to former Governor Bill Walker, told Alaska's Energy Desk. My reaction was, no way on earth would I go to that dinner. Good for you, Scott Kendall. That is exactly what I was just saying in my opening statements there. I wouldn't even attend this dinner if this disgusting dirtbag Dershowitz was going to be there. I mean, I don't even want to share air with somebody like that. Why would anybody want to be in a room with that man? Why would anybody want to break bread with that man? It is reprehensible to me. Attorney Rob Stone, the board president, said he was aware of the controversy surrounding Dershowitz's connections to Epstein and serving as one of President Donald Trump's lawyers in the impeachment process, saying certainly Jeffrey Epstein did some horrible, horrible things. Yeah, you think? And guess what? Your boy, Dirty Dersh, Mr. I kept my underpants on, is accused of some of those same vile crimes. For a lawyer and the president of a bar association, do you really think that we're going to believe you didn't do any legwork here? That you don't know about the allegations made by Virginia Roberts? Stop it. But Stone added, criminal defense lawyers are often guilty by association with the clients that they represent. Wrong. I already blew that stupid-ass strategy out of the water a second ago. It's not about who he represents, maybe to some people, but to anybody who's being logical in this case, to anybody who's just following the evidence wherever it leads, well, there's a lot more than Dershowitz just defending Epstein or O.J. Simpson or any of the other people he's defended. That is his job. While we can find it disgusting that he would take those clients on, and that's for personal taste, that is not the reason why this man needs to catch one. This man, once again, partook in Jeffrey Epstein's disgusting crimes. And according to Virginia, who has been absolutely 100% credible throughout this whole entire thing, he abused her while she was trafficked. Okay? It's not about your associations. It is about your behaviors and your actions, Dirty Dersh. When asked about the controversy, Dershowitz told the Associated Press he has a long history of defending women. Yeah, when you're not getting massages from underage girls at Jeffrey Epstein's house, when you're not abusing underage girls at Jeffrey Epstein's discretion. Does this guy really think that anyone's going to believe this shit? Because you go on a lame-ass propaganda channel like Newsmax TV and pump your nonsense, you think people are really buying it? Nobody's buying it, okay, Dershowitz? Your time is coming, pal. I've defended more women who have been victims of sexual assault than I have men who have been accused, he said in a phone interview. Yeah, that, once again, is not why you are being scrutinized. That's why you would like us to think you're being scrutinized, and that's your cover story. But when you dig a little deeper, get under the surface a bit, you understand that Dirty Dersh is in it way deeper than he wants to let on. Dershowitz said the list ranges from the famous like Patty Hearst and Mia Farrow to poor women who he defends at no cost. Aw, is that kind of like all of your buddies with their charities? oh, well, I give to this charity, so I can't be a sick, depraved child abuser. And for Dershowitz, it's, well, I protected Mia Farrow and so, so I certainly can't be involved in this. Guess what? All right? Everybody understands you're a gray character, okay? Just because you do an act of good does not mean you are not capable of incredible evil. So stop trying to muddy the waters. Stop trying to confuse people because it's not going to fly. The people who make that argument are totally ignorant of my record, he said. No, not ignorant of your record, ignoring it because it does not matter. When you have charges leveled at you, like the charges that are sitting at his feet by Virginia, yeah, it has nothing to do with your relationship with Jeffrey Epstein or who you defended. It has to do with your behavior as a reprehensible excuse as a human being. I did absolutely nothing wrong in the Epstein case. I defended it, yes. That was my job. I was not his friend, he said. I was paid per hour for every hour I spent on his case. I did absolutely nothing wrong. Does he really think people are going to believe this? You see, the legacy media will let him get away with this shit. They won't challenge him. They won't call him out because they fear him. They fear Alan Dershowitz. They fear the fact that he's some powerful Harvard lawyer who is in the know and rubs elbows with other powerful people. So they're scared. They're scared to air him out. They're scared to press him. Well, I have news for you. I am not. Alan Dershowitz, you have been credibly accused. You need to answer for your crimes, and you need to quit trying to muddy the waters with this pathetic ass excuse, okay? Has nothing to do with who you defended. It has nothing to do with the fact that you say you're not friends with Epstein, which we know is a lie. Why were you on his island? Why were you in New Mexico? Sure sounds like a friend to me. He encouraged any Alaska Bar Association members to read his book, Guilt by Association. Nah, I'll pass on the propaganda there, Mr. I kept my underpants on. Nobody wants to read your book. Nobody cares. Nobody believes you. It lays out the case. It has all the evidence, he said. If I'm invited to speak at the bar, I will answer all questions about this. Stone said it remains uncertain if the annual convention will even be held during the coronavirus pandemic. Well, it most certainly will have a virus there if they hold the convention and he is the keynote speaker, but it won't be the coronavirus. It'll be the virus that we know as Alan Dershowitz. If you'd like to contact me, you can do that at bobbycapucci@protonmail.com. That's BOBBYCAPUCCI@protonmail.com. You can also find me on Twitter at BOBBY_CAPUCCI. All right, everybody, all of the links that pertain to this episode will be in the description box, and we'll be back later on with a little bit more.